All right, well, good morning, everybody. We're very pleased this morning to undertake the Mayoral Forum, candidates for mayor of the city of Scranton. Mayor, as I mentioned to you before, a number of the folks here represent our Government Affairs Committee, or Chamber Influencers, and other various boards. I think, as you know, we only have 8 different organizations represented here through various means. So the bottom line is we have topics that have been shared with the mayor and the other candidates in advance, but not the questions. The questions have been generated through input from our Government Affairs Committee. We want to make this conversational, and with that, we'll try to hit as many questions as possible. But first, we want to give the mayor an opportunity to start it off with her own introduction and her own opening comments, and then we'll jump into some of the questions. All right, so the 26th, is that which mayor?
36th.
36th mayor of the city of Scranton, Paige Cognetti.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everybody. It's great to see you. Thank you very much for having me. It's fun to be able to see you guys, especially as Scranton has been growing so much. And I know we only have 20 minutes, and it's not a back and forth here, but I appreciate so much of the work that we've all been doing together, and the work that not only we've been doing since 2020 when COVID hit 6 weeks, 10 weeks into my tenure. I think that the COVID experience really bolstered relationships throughout our city, throughout our county, throughout our region. I was just with George Brown and Mike Lombardo last week. We did a podcast with WBRE, and we talked a lot about how George and I started on the same day in 2020. COVID hit, and we were already working together, but it really forged a relationship and a trust within our mayor's group and in our cities, in our county, our regions, with our chambers, with our nonprofits, with our healthcare systems, with the education institutions in our cities. So we feel fortunate. I think I could speak for George Brown too here. We feel fortunate for all of the partnership throughout the region and the approach that I believe we're taking as a region, that we're working toward the greater good, that development, economic growth is no longer a zero-sum game in northeastern Pennsylvania. We see the rising tide lift all boats, and that's the attitude that we have throughout the region. If something great happens in Wilkes-Barre, that's great for us too, because the person that moves to be the CFO of that company might go work at the University of Scranton and vice versa, right? We want growth all told in the region. We want to grow together. We want to partner. I think the counties are working better together. The cities certainly are. So it's been a really fulfilling 6 years that we've been able to spend doing this work, and now we see the fruits of all of that with all of the growth that we see right here in the city of Scranton. So I'm very proud of that and grateful for your partnership in that.
So one of the topics, the key topic, of course, obviously number one for the Chamber of Commerce is economic development. So you touched on some of the issues of working with other local mayors, and I want to come back to that in a little bit. But first, more broadly, Mayor, what are your thoughts on what the city can do, what your role could be in attracting and retaining business in Scranton?
So just last night, this is top of mind for us. We presented again the Downtown Streetscapes project to City Council. We've been talking about it, presenting pieces of it for a couple of years now. We've been working with PennDOT. This is the biggest biggest traffic change plan that's been presented to the PennDOT region ever. They have now blessed it, given it the green light, for lack of a better term. And now it's before City Council, so we can get shovels in the ground on Lackawanna this construction season, even as we get into the winter weather. And then the plan is to get it all done next spring and summer. So that is a $15 million project. That is a great example of the city of Scranton having its act together to be able to work with the state government, work with Colts, work with the county government, work with businesses, Scranton Tomorrow, Chamber of Commerce, work with the Association for the Blind, work with the Center for Independent Living, work across the spectrum to get something done so that we're investing alongside the many millions of dollars that are being invested on the private side in Scranton and throughout. So we have so many, new condo complexes. We've been seeing that for a long time, and tip to Mayor Doherty and Charlie Jefferson for catalyzing that, nearly 20 years ago. That has continued with great investments from many of the local developers, but they wouldn't be investing in this city at the clip they are if they didn't have a partner in the public sector that was doing the right thing in code enforcement and giving them the ability to easily access their permits, easily access their data. We actually slashed permit fees up to 70% a few years ago. The city was charging too much. The city's not supposed to make money on code enforcement. We're just supposed to be able to facilitate growth, right? So we slashed those fees, made it a lot easier to do business with us, and I think you see the results of that. We count almost 1,000 new units of housing across the city in the last 5 years. And this hasn't been, a big, some other mayors in different cities would say, we're going to build X number of units by X year, and it's a big goal. We had that goal internally. We want growth. If we don't have more growth, we're not going to make it. But we're getting there. We have a lot of kind of NIMBY attitudes throughout different sections of the city, and we understand that. So we've just made it easier to build. We've made it easier to clean up an old home and rehab it. We have programs there that have been helpful in that. We've taken down almost 80 structures, so we've enabled there to be infill growth. We're proving the case that growth is good. People's quality of life hasn't gone down because there's 100 new families living here. In fact, it's actually up. The school district is no longer planning to close the elementary schools they were planning to close. We have people working at all of these great new businesses. We have job opportunities. We have an earned income tax that is tracking at 4% over our projections year on year, which is good for us because that helps us continue to grow and do what we need to do at the city. So we're very proud of that. We want to continue to be a partner. We've always partnered with the chamber and other businesses from the beginning when we were looking at the payroll preparation tax. Bob was part of that committee as we were looking at converting that archaic business privilege mercantile tax to the payroll prep tax. It was one of those processes that took time. The city did it, and then there was a year lag before the school district did it, but we got through it. We got through it with really smart folks at the city that were able to hire the right people to help us get it to work right the first time in terms of collections, and now we have a much more fair tax. I wish we didn't need a business tax at all. You've all heard me say that before. But at least the one that we have now is something that people can afford. It's predictable because it's tied to payroll. It's easier for us to collect because that payroll data is something that's already built into the system, built into the accountant systems of the businesses themselves. So that's another big win. It was a few years ago. Most people have forgotten about it. There's a lot of things that are working really well that you don't hear about them because they're working well. And that's what it should be, right? It should be easy for somebody to buy a property and develop it in Scranton, and we should celebrate that.
So, for the record, I wanted known that our view on the taxes was no taxes, period. That was it.
Sure. Indeed.
But we want all the services, by the way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Let me just touch on something else. You talked about the PennDOT the project downtown, whatever. How about the relationship between the city government and some of the other governmental entities, state, federal governments? Any other things you might touch on that in terms of the nature of those relationships or opportunities for the city to work at a higher level with those governmental entities?
Yeah, we are really excited about our partnerships at the school district, for example. When I was on the school board, the city wouldn't work with the school district really on anything. We are at a point now where, Eileen Cipriani is here from the city, and she's on one of the boards, one of the many boards here at the chamber. Eileen and Pat Laffey at the school district work together frequently, at least once a week. Right now, they have one of our garbage trucks. We're working on taking over refuse from them. They should? It's true. Like Dr. Keating came to us and said, "You guys do refuse all day, every day. Why should the school district do it?" That sounds great. So there's all sorts of things that we're doing with the school district, which is really, really helpful. The payroll preparation tax being a great example of the administrations working together to improve improve the tax system. The county, the relationship we have now is really, really helpful. There's a number of projects that we're working on with the county, working with Colts on Lackawanna Avenue especially, but also in other areas of the city, working alongside the economic development team there with Kristen Magnata. Commissioner Gahan are very focused on that, as you all probably know. So I should also say on the tax piece, we are doing in the city, this will impact everyone in the city, in the school district, in the county as well. We're looking at nonprofit status. So it's called a HUP test. We've been working with a law firm out of Pittsburgh that knows how to do this. It takes a lot of work with the county assessor's office to successfully look at these nonprofits. The idea is to make sure people are a legitimate nonprofit. And so the assessor's office is very busy with reassessment right now, but we've been working with that office very well. And that's in contrast to the way it was years before, where the city and the county, I joke that somewhere there is like a cornerstone that says like the city and the county shall not work together. I don't know where it is. I don't believe that. We have a really good relationship now, have very good relationships with our state representatives, with the governor's office. I'm very interested, as I'm sure everyone in this room is, about data centers and what I need to know. What do we need to know about data centers? So we just had a call with Governor Shapiro's policy team on data centers. Just worked with them on a DEP permit for a dam up on West Mountain. We've been working with them on all sorts of things. Obviously, PennDOT, very close relationship there, and so appreciate that Secretary Carroll is somebody that we can count on at PennDOT. So that's very helpful. I was just with Senator Fetterman a few weeks ago on the Hill with 6 other mayors from across the country talking about housing. We met with Republican and Democratic senators and representatives from across the country on that day, talking about how to unlock housing for cities and making sure that, and this is something that we do often as mayors, making sure that our federal representatives understand what it's like to be on the ground trying to make things work. It's easy, and I've been in a federal administration. I was at the Treasury Department under Obama. I know what it's like to have a team of brilliant people doing policy in a big, beautiful, historic building in D.C. that might not actually work in a city hall in Scranton or a borough hall in Dunmore. So we need a lot more of that local perspective in Washington. And as mayors, as the U.S. Conference of Mayors, I'm on the executive committee of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. We do a lot of work to do that. So, met with Senator Fetterman on that, and we have a relationship with our other federal representatives and their local teams.
So obviously quality of life is a sort of a broad brush, a lot of different elements to what we define as in that regard. But it certainly within the city, public safety is a key concern. Can you speak to what your administration has been doing, will be doing with respect to public safety, police, fire, et cetera?
Yeah. Being in the city of Scranton, living here, now that I'm so close to it, I would not want to live anywhere else. No offense to all of you who choose to not live in the city, but because we have such a high caliber paid fire department, because we have a Scranton Police Department that has the tools, the training, and the attitude of better than any police department within 100 miles of us at least. I feel safer as a mom. I feel very proud as mayor that we have the public safety services that we do. We see, and I think that we'll see changes over time in these coming years in other places where there's volunteer fire departments, for example. We know that there are places where the police departments are struggling to attract folks in other areas. Every city, is trying to recruit and retain. We in Scranton have had, I think, the best trajectory of any of the other cities that I've talked to. We're always down a little bit, as kind of every department across the country is. But when I say a little bit, there are lots of departments across the country who are significantly down. The Scranton Police Department is a place that you want to work if you want to be in law enforcement. We have also eased the way to be able to apply to be a Scranton police officer. We now, with the state funding as well, we now can help. If we recruit you, we can help train you. That didn't happen before. So we can help put you through Lackawanna College through their training program to get you ready to be a Scranton police officer. We've invested in marketing for both police and fire so that we're out there more proactively to make sure people can know that they can be a policeman or a fireman. It's Halloween. You see little kids all over door in those outfits. That doesn't need to end there, right? It's something that you can do, but it used to be just a little, snippet in the Scranton Times that was, oh, there's a test coming up. Now it's all over social media. We're much more aggressive with our recruiting. And the reason that on the police side, you would want to be a Scranton officer, we have invested so much in technology and training, over $4 million in technology. The things that we can do now at HQ to interact with our cops on the beat are incredible. And really thinking through the technology pieces of it, our understanding is the technology we have in Scranton is unmatched until you get to Baltimore. We can communicate in real time with our officers when their Axon cams are on. We have cameras on the cars that are constantly taking photos. We just solved a crime because we knew a car that was involved in a crime from Scranton. They went to Wilkes-Barre. We were able to solve it because just a patrol car going around, through AI, we were able to see that car had been parked at a certain home in one of our neighborhoods a few days before, and we could track it to the girlfriend. So we are, first of all, don't ever commit a crime and don't do it in Scranton. We have over 330 cameras now in the city. We have license plate readers all over the city as well. Those are just enormously helpful in solving crimes. So don't do it. Not you. I know you guys weren't planning on it, but tell anybody in your life who you think might want to do something. No, not in Scranton. We have 5 new officers this year, so we've added to the force. Chief Tom Carroll has just been incredible in working to figure out the right way to manage for success, manage for community engagement, manage for proactivity. So there's a lot more. If you look at our data, you see that there's an increase in things. The reason there's an increase is because we're being much more proactive, and that's a good thing. It's a deterrent. It's also great for community engagement. And we'll have some exciting news next week about our police department. They deserve the recognition that they'll be getting next week.
Because we are.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I know. Yeah, you and I are bad together.
the wrong people.
Somebody stop us.
So maybe as we just sort of can roll into a broad final thoughts, sure. If you might also include a reference to what the city's role may be or could be with respect to CHS and the overall healthcare concerns, sure. As an extension of quality of life and our capacity to attract people to the city of Scranton.
Yeah, the healthcare piece is extraordinarily stressful for all of us. We don't have time for this, but basically, in my view, we America allowed the privatization of far too many public goods 30, 40 years ago. EMS is a great example of that. The city of Scranton was not alone. Most even municipalities, at least in Pennsylvania, divested of EMS in-house, and it became privatized. We're now in a situation where you have a systematic private equity coming in and buying EMS systems, which worries us a lot. There are just very few places out there that are serving the community from an EMS perspective, and that is already happening. It's already concerning. We already have pieces of Lackawanna County that are nearly uncovered, and pieces of Scranton that if the ambulances are somewhere else, there's someone else. It's really, really scary. We already have that happening. We already have CHS clearly and publicly looking to leave regional hospital. That's been going on for a couple of years. I'm very concerned that those doors will close, and at the very least, those doors might be open, but the service delivery will not be what it should be. We worked with Geisinger a couple of years ago to try to get the zoning so that they could expand more. Unfortunately, City Council decided that they didn't want that, and they voted in a veto-proof majority on that zoning, but not for public consumption quite yet, but we're working with Geisinger to bring that up again so that they have what they need to do, what they need to continue to expand and thrive and have healthcare right here in Scranton. It was important 2 years ago. It's extremely important now, especially as regional's future is unclear. So we will keep working. I'm on a weekly call with the local foundations, with the governor's office, and we continue to do what we can to try to try to understand what's going to happen with the hospital. Obviously, it's very important from the city's perspective in terms of public safety and being able, our first responders need to know where they're taking people in a case where they need to do transport. And economically, it is scary to the prospect of not having that. But we have partners stepping up. Geisinger is stepping up more than they're being public about, which I wish they would be more public about the investments that they are making, which hopefully they will be soon. But I think we'll keep healthcare in Scranton, but it's going to be a community effort. It really will. And when we do present to council the expansion of the ability for Geisinger to expand, I'm going to need the community to step up with us and help city council make the right decision.
Well, that's our allotted time.
Thanks.
I wish we had a lot more. Thank you to Mayor Paige Cognetti. We really appreciate in addition to your coming here today, as you referenced before, we've had wonderful relationship moving forward. Eileen Cipriani, I need to point out, has done a heck of a job in terms of being a liaison between the chamber and the city. And so we're looking forward to a very interesting end of this campaign. All right, thanks.